Wonderful. All right, so I'm really happy that you've made time to join us today. This is always a super cool session. We have 3 people on the pitch list. We've only got one of them here right now. So Gideon, you'll be going first. Elliot should be joining. I've just sent him the link. And then Nadia said she was going to join if she finished her newsletter. So with you guys here right now, if you want to pitch, we have an opportunity. So if you want to pitch, let me know. If you're working on, talking at an upcoming event, or you're going on a podcast, or you're going to start networking heavily, and you want to get your intro pitch warmed up, this is the perfect place. So I will do a quick intro on the format, and then we will jump in. So Gideon, you will be starting soon, and either Ollie or Lee, can I have share permissions, please? Excellent. Henry, we'll put you on the list. Good stuff. Life doesn't schedule your opportunities. That's what I always say. All right, so Pitch Club. You can see a clock on my shoulder. We use time is super important in pitching. So everybody gets 3 minutes. You can use up to 3 minutes, but at 3 minutes, I will politely ask you to stop. So if I ask that of you, I give it to myself as a constraint. So can everybody see my slides? Pitch Club? Wonderful. So
yes.
As Startup to Stand-Up is an amazing community of people that really support each other. So is Pitch Club. We have people from all over the world. We've done 150 Pitch Club events, and I have seen incredible transformation where people bring the right pitching mindset. And it is a massive thanks to James Lalonde. When we both lived back in 2019 in Beijing, he created Pitch Club as a way for people just like ourselves with the right mindset to start pitching more and get more practice. So if you are pitching tonight, what we ask is that you share your goal. Why are you pitching? And you share the intended audience. Is it warm contacts, cold contacts, investors, people at networking events? Why pitching? Who's the audience? This allows the community to give you fantastic feedback. You get up to 3 minutes. You can do whatever you want with that 3 minutes. Slides, no slides. It is totally up to you. Once your pitch is finished, I put a link in the chat. It goes to Airtable. There's a very simple form where we get a first wave of feedback from the community, and it's anonymous. So please be constructive with your feedback. Once we've done our 3 pitches, we then go into a speaker self-reflection round. The person pitching gets 5 minutes total to share one thing that was good and one thing that they would improve. And then the community gives you their perspective. Now, it's not a time to have a conversation. Take your questions to the chat and the offline. But really, when you're getting feedback, just listen, because it's not often you get very focused, constructive feedback, and you want to absorb as much as possible. Again, we just listen to the feedback. And if somebody is giving feedback and they said what you were going to say, maybe try and come up with something else, so we're not echoing and repeating the feedback. So put your name in the chat and I will invite you forward. And this is a good time to find your voice. The session is recorded. It only goes to the people pitching. So like Match of the Day, you can look back and reflect on your performance. You can look at the feedback and then really see how to improve in the future. So how do we get the most out of this community? Relax, have fun, breathe, try new things, listen for the advice and the feedback, and really enjoy taking this opportunity. Keep your cameras on, but stay muted, please, as much as possible, and smile. It was the best piece of feedback I ever got from Pitch Club. People said, Martin, you look so serious. I don't want to listen to you. And I started smiling and everything changed. So big, big smile and have fun. Because if it's not fun, really, what is the point? Could all be doing something else. So let's go. Gideon, are you ready?
I am ready. Gladiator's ready.
Fantastic. Are you using slides today?
No.
No, wonderful. Okay. So please briefly introduce what is the goal for your pitch?
The goal, the goal for my pitch is pretty much to get a pitch because I've had one in my head for a long time. I went through the NatWest Accelerator program a few years ago. They have a big emphasis on pitching, and so I'm really sold on the idea of having a pitch that you can use and adapt. But I've never really nailed it. So when I saw this opportunity, I've nearly come to this session a few times and bailed out. So here I am. I'm showing up. My audience for today, I would say, is a kind of networking audience. So it would be pretty much, people like yourselves who would be hopefully be people that could refer me to people that they know.
Wonderful, excellent. Well, I am going to count you down with 3, 2, 1. Give you the stage,
Okay.
and then stop you after 3 minutes. Use as much time as you want. So,
Okay.
big deep breath. Big smile.
Big smile.
Okay, love it. 3, 2, 1. Stage is yours.
Every year, millions of new businesses are created around the world. In the UK, it's around 350,000. In the US, it's more like 1 million. Officially, these are referred to as business births, and figuratively speaking, they are the babies of the founders who created them. But whichever source of data that you look at, the shocking truth is that the majority of these businesses, these startups, will fail within their first few years. My name is Gideon Barker from Customer IQ, and I am compelled to help tackle this problem, this catastrophic problem. Now, on the face of it, when you look at the work that I do, you might see it as market research, but I don't sell research because nobody wants to buy research. What I offer instead are 3 things. Firstly, great customer understanding, so I can give you clear advice and help you reduce those insanely high levels of risk that are involved in developing a startup business. Secondly, compelling evidence that will give you more confidence to help you make great decisions. And thirdly, new customer insights that will inspire new ideas and new ways of thinking. My business, Customer IQ, has actually been trading for 13 years, but only recently niched into prioritizing working with startup businesses. And since then, I've worked with a wide range of startups. Recent tracking suggests that over 90% of my clients would be very likely to recommend Customer IQ. What I offer are 4 ways of working with startup businesses. Firstly, online training to give them the knowledge and confidence to carry out their own research. Secondly, cost-effective ways to measure market size, validate ideas. Thirdly, bespoke tailor-made research projects that answer very specific challenges. And lastly, a fractional research leadership that you can turn on and off whenever you need to. My ask from you today is to introduce me to startup founders in your network who would benefit from cutting down on the risk, gaining more confidence in decision making, and discover some inspiration that customers have to offer. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Gideon. Guys, there is a link in the chat. Click the link, choose Gideon's name, answer the 4 questions. It is anonymous. Let me know with a thumbs up when we're done. And then Nadia, just in the nick of time, you're going to be up next.
Wow.
Yeah, perfect timing. If that's okay, is that good for you?
Yeah, just need to stand up.
Wonderful. Excellent.
Martin, just quickly, did you see that Henry wants to pitch?
Yes, I did. He's on the list already. I've updated
Excellent.
it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Pete. Thank you, Douglas. Thank you, Neil. Okay, Nadia, You know the drill. Please share your audience and your goals for this pitch.
My audience is anyone, everyone. And my goal for the pitch is to make everyone understand why we need Waggit.
Fantastic. Are you using slides today?
No.
Okay. All right. Big deep breath, big smile. Going to count you down. 3, 2, 1. The stage is yours.
It was my mother's birthday on Sunday, so my brother booked a restaurant where all of the family could gather. I turned up, but I was turned away because I had Lola with me. Lola is my King Charles Cavalier Spaniel. She's 13 years old, and we consider her part of the family. Now, when my brother booked, he has 3 children, and he asked if the place was child-friendly, and they said yes, and that he thought then that was fine. But there was nowhere on the website that said they didn't allow dogs, and that's why I created Waggit. Waggit is the first online booking platform for dog parents. People can go on there and find out whether a restaurant is not only dog friendly, it's dog centric, because a tick box is just not good enough for dog owners. We want to know whether we can sit inside, whether there's treats, whether there's dog menus, and so on. There are over 13 million dogs in the UK at the moment. So 1 out of 3 people has a dog. There is a need. So aside from the fact whether you like dogs or not, and you think they should be allowed, businesses crave dog owners. They're more loyal, they stay longer, and they just tend to be better customers, because if the dog relaxes and settles down in a restaurant, you'll order another drink, you'll stay longer. So they're better customers. And if you compare them to parents, dog owners tend to go to the same places for the lifetime of their dogs. So how long, 10, 15 years, they'll go to the same places, they'll become loyal customers. Well, parents, obviously the children grow and their habits change. So that's why we need Waggit. We need Waggit not only for dog parents, for businesses. We know hospitality is suffering. It's still suffering after lockdown. And for them to have a channel to market to dog owners and attract them without having to cannibalize their own website and push it too much to their audience, they can use Waggit to attract a different marketing channel. And that's what we're there for. Waggit has been around for 3 years, and we've gone from during lockdown, obviously it was difficult. We've built a market of about we had around 39 customers in the first year, and now we're over 400 listings, all attracting really good customers, and we can see that people are returning and booking online. So I'd like to ask you, the audience, whether you think there is a place for Waggit in this world.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Nadia. Wonderful pitch. So, guys, it's always the same link. Choose the link, refresh the page, and let's give Nadia some feedback. So, hey, you'll be up next. So let me know if you're good with the feedback. And if you're going to use slides, please share those. And we look forward to your pitch.
No slides. Let me know when you want me to go.
All right, we'll just wait for the feedback from Nadia. And if anyone else would like to pitch, we do have space. So If you'd like to take this opportunity, warm up your next past intro, your next networking pitch, investor pitch, business, put your name in the chat. We'll get you on the list. We can probably do one more. And you'll get an incredible, you'll leave here at 10:30 a better pitcher than you were when you woke up. How cool is that? All right. So, Henry, let's go for it. Please introduce the goal pitch and who the audience would be.
Okay, great. Okay, welcome everyone. The goal of this is to introduce a new product, which is search experience testing. We want to generate a pipeline of new business, and we've created this service to hopefully do exactly that. My audience is anybody who can make it, well, anybody in digital marketing, but more specifically, anybody who can make a purchasing decision within digital marketing. So many of you will be familiar with the concept of website user testing, where people record their actions online on a particular website. What search experience testing is an expansion of that proposition. But we analyze the journey from the initial search through to the point of conversion. And what that enables us to do is to create data. We provide the qualitative feedback with videos, video testimonies, videos using the undertaking the search, but we'll analyze the click triggers on the page. We'll analyze where people click, and more importantly, what makes them click. So Google Analytics is very good, and Google, all the search engines are very good at providing information about paid search. But what we don't always understand is what is the ratio between paid and organic. Within organic, what are the click triggers? What are the search elements on the page that are actually driving the click? So we'll measure not just the click, but we'll also understand, because our users are verbalizing the whole process, what the triggers are that made them click on that particular search element. And that's very interesting for clients because that enables them to optimize their whole search experience. What we also do by default is give back feedback to customers in relation to who is winning the click, which of the brands that appear within those search results are actually getting the clicks, and most of them. And we'll also provide information regarding on-site behavior. So that's not just our client's website where it appears within the search results, it's also their competitors. What are the elements that are on their website which is actually encouraging that user to convert and buy? And that, in a nutshell, is search experience testing. What we'll deliver is the full analysis with all of the video content. And ultimately, the aim is to improve click-through rates, give our clients an understanding of what they need to prioritize, as well as optimize on-site behaviors. And that search experience testing.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Henry. Wonderful pitch there. Cannot wait to share some feedback. So again, guys, the link is in the chat. Choose Henry's name, give him some feedback. Let me know when we're done with a thumbs up. And then we do have space for another pitch. If somebody would like to take this moment, get the feedback, and leave at 10:30 better than they woke up at pitching. We also can use a little bit of space at the end after the feedback. I can share with you some pitching principles, if that would be useful. I've got a little presentation I can whiz through in about 5 minutes that will help enlighten our understanding of pitch message. So you let me know. All right. Fantastic. Thank you, Catherine. Catherine. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Nadia. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Douglas. Okay. Thank you, Catherine. Wonderful. All right, Gideon, back to the top of the list. So now we get 5 minutes. Please share with us one thing that went really well, one thing that you improve, and then we will get you some feedback from the community.
Well, I got through it. I suppose that's a positive. I was pleased that I felt like, I think it sped up too much at the end, but I think relatively well paced. I think you'll probably have seen I was reading off my phone screen, and I did plan a bit more time this morning to rehearse it and get it committed to memory. And my hour rehearsal time somehow whittled its way down to 5 minutes through my clever procrastination skills. So yeah, I think more rehearsing, more practice, for sure.
Well, first of all, congratulations for making it happen, because that is the first step. And then your experience, your self-reflection, yeah, you know exactly what you need to do. It is just practice. It's not sexy, it's not glamorous, it's just turn up and practice as much as you can, and you will then snowball. But let's get you some feedback from the community. Guys, put your name in the chat if you would like to share your input and feedback. Andrea.
Gideon, all I could hear when you started was dum 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 dum. It was very, very gloomy. And I realized that you were talking about a very serious subject, but perhaps there's a different approach which doesn't make me want to take to my bed with a pillow over my head.
Thank you. Yeah, fully. I get that. I think I was trying to engage attention, but maybe there's different ways of doing that.
Fantastic. Thank you, Andrea. Great feedback. Catherine Ann.
Gideon, I wasn't sure what you did. And I think the thing was you started off quite early by saying what you didn't do. So the words I heard was market research, and you said that was what you didn't do. But when you say something early, that's what sticks in someone's mind. And towards the end, you said you want to help startup founders avoid the risk, but you didn't say the risk of what.
Yeah,
that's
fantastic.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Catherine Ann. Neil.
Hi, well done, Gideon. I think following on from Andrea's point is that starting off with a catch line or something really positive. So understanding evidence and insights, that's really powerful. And then supporting, well, you use this to stop businesses, failing or start up failing. That's kind of got the attention. And then something about, contextualizing the service, as Catherine Ann was saying, is kind of like to try and help maybe storytelling an example if you can. So I use research and this helped me achieve this, because people sometimes find it difficult to understand how they would put research into their own service development or product, because it's part of the puzzle. And if you try and help them see how you can join that together and how you fit in with other digital marketing, design, customer services, all of these kind of things, how can they then action the feedbacks that they get from your research?
Brilliant. Thanks, Neil. I think some anecdotes would be good.
Absolutely. Peter.
Yeah, I think you made a good start with the presentation. You put out I got the objective of what you were trying to do to start with, but then it seemed to go a bit mushy lower down. One of the things that was distracting was that you were reading from a script that was down on your left-hand side, and you perhaps need to reposition your script so that your eyes are focusing on the camera, because that did cause to me it was a distraction, because every time your eyes moved, I was following your eyes, not following the script.
Thanks, Peter. Yeah,
Thank
you
you,
need to
Peter.
rehearse.
Well done, Gideon. These things are never easy, but I believe in what Martin says. Practice makes perfect. It really does. One thing from me, your audience are business people. They'll want to always know what's in it for them. And I think if you can put some case studies, you've worked with founders where they've had a positive outcome from your service. I think that storytelling, particularly around return on investment, is so important.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ollie.
Cool. Thanks, Ollie. I think that's a big gap, isn't there? Some evidence, some more anecdotal case study evidence. Definitely. Thank you.
We make it because the founders who have used you, Gideon, and to sort of keep that at bay is a crime, because you got to talk about that and the the positivity you bring.
Fantastic. Gideon, if I may, I've got some feedback and a little bit of advice.
Yes, please.
To sort of follow on, I went to art school and I lived in trainers. And then I started working in London, and I was walking down the Camden High Street in 2002, and I made a massive decision to buy a pair of shoes, a nice brown pair of brogues, beautiful shoes. Bought them on a Saturday afternoon. Saturday night, me and my mates went to Notting Hill, and I wore my shoes, and I woke up on Sunday morning with a ginormous blister on the back of my heel. I was back in my trainers, and I folded backs down, and I was shuffling in my trainers for a week like they were flip-flops. Your pitch right now is those brogues, brand new, out the box, and a bit stiff. You need to wear them in. And you, at the moment you're in a pitch, that is wonderful. That is the first step. The next step now, after today and all of this super constructive feedback, is to take that script and let it go. And then the next time you're driving the car on your own, or you're walking the dog, or you are out in the garden, pitch to the universe. And just hear yourself go through the stories and get over the structure and figure out where you can drop in the anecdotes of where you've really helped people. And if you say to yourself to pitch every day for the next week, and if you grab your phone and record yourself, and don't share it with anybody, but just have it as a documentation, you will improve massively. And there's only one way to break in a pair of shoes, is to wear them a little bit every day. If you go out and do what I did and wear them for 5 hours standing up, you're going to ruin your feet. So, you've made the biggest step today by, admitting procrastination, admitting the fact that you tried to come, but you bailed before. That is huge, because you put it out there. Nobody's judging you. We're all supporting you. So now you just build on this momentum and just keep on going. And you've got something great. And if you add all the feedback, you've got this recording now, so you can go back and watch your performance, listen to the feedback from everybody, and think, well, where am I going to put the anecdotes? How am I going to liven up? How am I going to, let go of the script? You've got really clear progress points right now. And all you've got to do is, I remember I was driving back from Weston Supermare to Taunton with a trampoline in the back for my kids. And I couldn't go on the motorway because the back of my car was too full. So I was on the A38, and I just practiced my pitch the whole way back. And then I was pitching the next day. So find these little quiet moments in your day where you can speak to the universe and pitch, and you will start to really improve.
Love it.
Thank you very much.
Dog walks are my new pitching arena. Love it.
You've got twice a day now. You can practice twice a day. You can look at a companion, and he'll give you lots of feedback, and off you go.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Wonderful. Okay, next up, who was that? Nadia.
Yeah, so talking about dog walks.
There you go.
Okay. Just on that point. Sorry.
Go for it.
Okay. Sorry, it's just because I know the drill. Sorry, Martin. So well, it was completely improvised, so I'm glad I did it anyway. I even, I was busy this morning and I thought, you know what? I know what I'm talking about and I need to do this. That's what I'm happy about. I feel there wasn't a flow to the story. I kept thinking of things instead of like saying I'd say something and then think of something else rather than continue that. So it was quite choppy, if that's the word to use. But I'm glad I did it because Lola hasn't heard my pitch in a while. So yeah, glad I did it.
Wonderful. Well, fantastic. Thank you for making the time. So I know we're all super busy. So guys, if you'd like to give Nadia some feedback, put your name in the chat. Catherine Ann.
So Nadia, I know what you do, obviously, and I think it's brilliant. I would push harder on the research piece of parents' loyalty versus dog owners' loyalty about going to the same pubs, because I think another thing is that people walk to their local pub with their dog, whereas parents would quite often drive to different places with their kids. So I would get really good research around that and use the stats much harder, because I think that might just help with your conversion. And also your growth's been great. Talk about our growth has been phenomenal from this to this. That's my thinking.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Catherine Ann. And Neil.
I was just wondering who the pitch was for. Is it for the dog owners or to go to the restaurants? Is it the business owners to sign up to the portal, or is it to investors because it's a good thing to invest in because there's obviously a very strong market? And I was trying to understand, I guess, the use case that you were kind of pitching from, because I think what people want to hear is different depending upon how Waggit is useful to them or potentially useful to them. So that's my thoughts on that.
Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you, Neil. Gideon.
I think thank you for the context of, I didn't realize that you'd done it kind of on the fly, which is really impressive. And I think the story at the start, was really good, and that really got my attention, and it really explained the problem. And I think maybe for me at least, then you spent a bit too much time repeating the problem, and I wanted to get to the solution a bit quicker. But no, knowing that you kind of, that wasn't pre-written, that's pretty impressive. So I think reflecting on my own pitch as well, more the story is really good, the anecdotes are really compelling, kind of brings it to life.
Fantastic. Thank you, Gideon.
Oops. I liked it. I think you could tighten it up, but there was nothing in it for me as a business that doesn't have to deal with dogs and a non-pet owner. So perhaps using Catherine Ann's point about the statistics, then it can be more interesting, and I might pass it on to somebody I know who is in the hospitality business.
Thanks.
Very nice. Good point. Thank you, Andrea. Ollie.
Well, things happen like this. Andrea just took all the wind out of my sails, and I think that's a very important point. I thought it was a good pitch, but I know people in the hospitality sector, and I know how tough it's been for maybe 4 or 5 years now. Is there any data out there which proves that those hospitality sites that are pro-dog and allow dogs in have a better time financially than those who don't? If there's data on that, I think that could be very powerful. You're talking to a sector which is underwater at the moment, and they're looking for any advantages. I think that could be a good conversion.
Yeah, thanks.
Fantastic, Ollie. Thank you. And Lou.
Oh, hi, Nadia. So I think what I really would have liked to hear would have been some of the successful outcomes from current clients that are using you. Yeah, it was just good to have a few stories around what their successes have been and why it's been so great for them.
Okay, good idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Lou. Nadia, I'm really glad that you made the time, that you brought your pitch, that you stood up, that you made all those incremental changes, and that is having a massive impact. One thing I would suggest is when you get this recording, go back and look at my intro that you've heard a million times. But don't listen to the words I'm saying, but really tune into my performance, because I wasn't physically ready. I was a bit gaspy. I don't know if anybody noticed. I was a bit because I was talking quick for 3 minutes and I hadn't done my warm-up exercises. I didn't have time because I was in the wrong room. I was on the wrong internet and I was kind of a bit late. So you really sort of analyze my performance and you'll see it, because I felt it. And then think about your own performance. And no matter how rushed you are, we always need to try and find at least 60 seconds just to stop and breathe from our waist, because you were talking very quickly. And it's like when you talk too fast, it undermines your authority and your leadership, because leaders go at their own speed. They're not in a rush. And no matter where you're pitching, you're a leader of your business, of your vision, and you want to amplify that leadership and confidence to other people. And so you could really slow it down. And the way that you're going to slow down is two things. There's your message, how it's forming in your mind. And you know your message pretty well. You've got lots of great stories and examples and everything like that. And today you tried a new one that I hadn't heard before. And the other way is by just breathing and slowing down and seeing a pause as content. It's like in music, when they annotate music, there is a symbol for the pause. In writing, there's the comma, full stop. In speech, we just need to put it in there and not be scared of a little bit of silence, because your audience is actually going, please give me some silence. Yeah. So again, watch your recording. Watch my recording. You'll see that we're not always ready, but now make sure you go at least 60 seconds to breathe. And that's going to be 4 or 5 deep breaths. And that's really going to slow things down. But thank you for making the time, because it was brilliant. Wonderful. Good stuff. All righty. Henry, please, up next, self-reflect.
Yes, yes, thank you guys. Yes, well, I was prepared, and you'll see it literally was back of an envelope there. So they're my notes. I think I obviously I've heard the feedback for everybody else, so I'm going to steal some of that negativity, if you like. I think I was not looking at the camera, so I wasn't as authoritative as I could be, because I was looking at the back of the envelope. That is this isn't by way of an excuse, by the way, but that is the first time I've spoken to anybody about it externally. So I think I just need to get my patter sorted, really. I think I need to have the words, in my mind, and the more I do it, the more that will happen, I know. So I think my delivery wasn't that good. Yes, that's all I have to say, really.
But you did it, and now it's done, and you've got the hardest one done, and the next one's going to get easier. So exactly. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Guys, let's get some feedback. Put your name in the chat. Peter.
Good morning. I really enjoyed your pitch, actually. I thought it was very good. And I got a clear understanding of what is perhaps quite a difficult and complex subject, really. The only thing that was distracting me was your green screen. You were bobbing in and out of your green screen, and he's going all hazy and that. But yeah, well done. Great.
Fantastic. Thank you, Peter. Catherine Ann?
Henry, I just wanted to say, definitely look at the camera, but don't think of any of this as negative feedback. It's all to help. Nothing's negative. It's all, so please never think it's that way. It's all constructive. So well done. And everybody starts off with a script before they start reciting. It's like our 2 times table. We started off looking at it. Well done.
Absolutely brilliant. I'm going to steal that metaphor, Catherine. Thank you. Gideon.
Yeah, well done, Henry, and Nadia as well, and me for standing up and doing it. I'm not sure if this will make sense, but it felt like to me like I'd joined the pitch halfway through. Like there wasn't really a clear sort of starting point for me, and I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, really, I thought your audio was really clear and your pacing was really, really clear. So I was engaged by you've got a nice presentation style and then clear audio, so that was really engaging. But yeah, just I felt like there was an opportunity to maybe have a more of a starting point, if that makes sense.
Thank you, Gideon. I mean, I've got to be honest, in your pitch where you said nobody wants to buy market research, my heart sank knowing what I was about to discuss.
That light's coming out.
Yeah, thank you for the feedback.
Cool, thank you, Gideon. Nadia.
Yeah, well done on the first pitch. I thought it was really good, and you definitely have the tone and charisma to present. I think I'm taking a bit from Peter and a bit of Gideon. I think you explained really well, but explained a lot. I would have liked to have examples and a bit more of emotion in it, because it felt like a very teaching 3 minutes, like you were teaching us stuff, and I would have liked a bit more of emotion in it.
Okay.
Fantastic, thank you, Nadia. Neil.
Yeah, a great pitch. Well done, Henry. Thinking, being a designer, what the outcomes of your service really help inform, from proposition, the marketing, through the service, onboarding, dropout, delivery, engagement. And it's really understanding what the business, why reaching further in regards to the scope, because people go, oh yeah, so many people have landed from this browser, or so many people from this country are turning up at this time of day. Those things are great, and they're analytics that we all have from Google or whatever. But putting those into the story and then seeing how that can then loop back and create customer relationships, customer onboarding can improve completion and all of those kind of things. I think it's back to that kind of thing. I'm obviously wanting a lot of stories this morning, but it's the storytelling to help businesses understand how they can implement it, but then also how it will add to the customer experience.
Interesting. Yeah. No, that's good feedback. Thank you, Neil. Thank you,
Neil. Andrea.
Henry, I'm a bit of an armchair pitcher today, so I applaud you for doing it. Correct me if I'm wrong. You started out by saying what your product was, and then you explained the problem with other analytics, whereas it might have been more interesting to state the problem and then how you had solved it. And that feeds into Neil's feedback as well, I think. Did you do that, or is that am I dreaming?
No, I think that's fair to say that that's the way it went. I didn't really plan it that way. It's just those words came out. But clearly I should plan it, and so that's good feedback. Yeah.
That's it. Thank you very much, Andrea. Lou.
Hi, Henry. This goes back to someone else's pitch. That question, who is it that you're pitching to? I wasn't that clear on that. I think because it really piqued my interest, because you're someone that we potentially use in our business. But I'm just thinking, if it was to someone else, would it be as clear, maybe, who you were aiming it at? Maybe just a bit more clarity that someone's already mentioned. So, but yeah, Henry, could you send me your LinkedIn as well, please?
Fantastic. Thank you, Lou. Of course, everybody do use the chat, share your LinkedIn profile, make sure that you know everybody else on the call. Henry, my feedback would be, first of all, congratulations for jumping in, using the back of the envelope and getting it done. That was wonderful. At the beginning, correct me if I'm wrong, but you said this is a pitch to a purchase decision maker, somebody that can buy.
Yeah. I think I said anybody in digital marketing, but particularly those who are able to make a decision to purchase, something along those lines.
Yeah. In reflection, I would say that today's pitch was more to the CTO, a fellow technical person, because as I think was mentioned by other people, I was listening to the pitch and I heard lots of clicks here, clicks there, and I could just sort of, in my mind, imagine lots of boxes and clicks and arrows and cursors. And so I think it was a very good technical pitch of how the product works. If it was to somebody that's going to buy it, I think we'd have to change slightly the range of topics you talk about, and maybe get some user benefits, get some customer benefits, get some pain points, and sort of describe more of the campsite. At the moment, we just looked at one specific area, and I think that we need to see a little bit more. And so this is a sort of metaphor I use quite a lot with people, is that imagine you're selling a Mercedes, and I worked with Mercedes in China, and the Mercedes tagline is the best or nothing. And I've read somewhere that they start selling you a Mercedes 25 years before you're going to buy it. They appeal to young kids to sort of this beautiful car and what is it going to do and all this sort of stuff. And so if you were selling me a Mercedes, you were selling me it by explaining the engine. And I want you to explain it from the driver's seat, holding the steering wheel, pushing the accelerator, driving along the road, hearing the engine, hearing the surge of the car, feeling the safety of the car, feeling like an absolute rock star in a Mercedes. All of these emotional things. Now, that's not necessarily going to work for the purchasing person that you had as your initial target. But the reason I explain that is, like, watch your video, and it was, to me, and it was a very technical pitch, and I think it needs a little bit more color if it's going to be for a purchaser, and it would need a different version if it's going to be for different users or different stakeholders. So use this experience today, get more envelopes, and keep figuring out different structures, but really start from who is my intentional audience and what do I want them to do? Are they a gatekeeper that moves me through the process to the decision maker? Or are they the decision maker that needs bilateral approval from the C-suite? Are they the purchasing department? You know, who are they? And what do they need to know to say yes? But what a fantastic start. I mean, jumping in and making this start and getting this feedback is incredible. So there's real clarity now on how to get this next iteration. And a pitch is an iteration, just like any part of a product. We have to iterate it. So thank you very much. Guys, 3 choices. We can stop now and everyone can get on with their day. We can do a Q&A, or I can show you something. So please let me know what is going to be most valuable for you guys.
I'm flexible, Martin. Yeah, there's obviously a consensus in the chat for you showing us something.
Wonderful.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
Keep it brief. So this is to really follow on from Henry's envelope. So can everyone see this? Yeah. So this is the 3-beat mountain. And it is the pitch structure that I've developed after reading a lot of storytelling books, after being in advertising for 15 years, and just being in a lot of meetings where people are communicating ideas for the first time or ideas for the 10th time, whether it's, you know, talking to the brand managers at the Volkswagen Group or leaders at Mercedes or Dior or Cartier, all the companies I've worked with. And Henry, get your next envelope and sketch out this structure on the back of the envelope, the whiteboard, the flip chart. And this really is a fantastic way of organizing your thinking so you can have real clarity on what are you trying to say. Of all the things you could say, what is going to be most relevant for that audience right now? So for example, if you think about Nadia's pitch, the first beat of her mountain was the story of trying to get into the restaurant for her mother's birthday celebration dinner, but being refused because of Lola. That was her first beat. And then the second beat was talking about the business opportunity and the number of dog owners in the UK. And then the third beat was sort of the business potential and the growth. And the beautiful thing about this structure is it doesn't need anything apart from a pen and a piece of paper. And the framework is choose 3 things. That's all you need to do. And the first thing needs to be quick and catch your attention. Bang. How do I draw you into this moment and make sure that I have high quality prime attention? The second beat is let me share with you something that's going to prove to you that I'm an expert. So a very key specific insight, an experience, an anecdote, a story. And then as I get to the top of the mountain, let me share with you something that makes you going to go, wow, I didn't know that. It's really going to resonate. And if you notice the diagram, at the top of every peak, it comes down a little bit. And that down is an off-ramp. So that means that you're reading the situation, you're reading the moment with your audience, and you're deciding how much of a pause you give. Because let's say you're talking to a high-level stakeholder, they might want to step in and start a conversation. And you want to make that happen, because the sooner they start telling you their real pain points, their concerns, their needs, that is absolute rocket fuel for the next part of your pitch, because you can pivot and sort of say, actually, I was going to tell them A, but they're more interested in B. And so you can make that pivot. And you can decide on the move what is the attention grabbing element, but you know it has to be quick. And then you know that in the middle, there needs to be this moment where you show your expertise. It's quite short. And then you're really driving to that. Let me tell you a secret that I don't often tell people. And each peak, you're really just seeking permission to continue. Nodding, smiling, people making notes, people, whatever cues of engagement you can read from the situation. And if you're not seeing them, you can sort of slow down a bit and then say, does this make sense? Is this what you're interested in? Am I on the right track? So you can sort of course correct, because you've got these little off ramps, and it's insanely flexible. So you can start to read the room, and you can bring your leadership mindset and layer in your pitching mindset, because the opposite of flexible is this. And if one moment in Beijing, when I was sharing some presentations to some really senior guys, on the second slide, they looked at each other and said, why are we looking at templates? Why am I looking at the same stuff everybody else looks at? I don't want to spend my time looking at this. Where these people do not understand me. And they were looking at a very rigid presentation that had to start and finish to prove its point. Whereas with the 3-beat mountain, you've got way more flexibility, because a pitch is actually a conversation. And I'm going to wrap up in a minute, but this 3-beat mountain is like these beautiful Russian dolls. You get a mountain inside a mountain inside a mountain inside. It's a modular system. So no matter how long your pitch is, whether it's 8 seconds, 30 seconds, couple of minutes, 10 minutes, you're basically burying mountains inside mountains inside mountains. So you're on this rhythm of 3. And again, that really helps with your mental organization of what you want to share, the ability to remove and add things. And then also your breathing can get into this beautiful, and you've got moments where you can pause, and it's an intentional pause. It's not a gasping pause. It's a land, like a gymnast. So what I recommend, and I've seen this, and I'm working with Innovate UK at the moment, is what we've done today is a raw pitch. Just jumped in, feet first. I call it an Uncle Ted swimming lesson, because when my dad learned to swim, Uncle Ted, South African swimming champion, picked him up and threw him in a swimming pool in Cape Town, and just then scooped him out again. So today, you guys have jumped in the deep end. Now, with a 3-beat mountain, the next time you have a pitch and you're taking a dog for the walk, or you're going for a drive to drop the kids off, on the way back, you can imagine that mountain in your head, and you can verbalize that pitch. You can grab the envelope, you can do another 3-beat mountain. And the leaders that we work with at Innovate UK, they do a 30-second pitch before lunch. We do the feedback iterations. Afterwards, they do a 2-minute pitch, and they get a flip chart, and they write up, they draw the 3-beat mountain. I can share some pictures in a moment. And the transformation is amazing. So I encourage you now to take this experience, take this 3-beat mountain, and then really apply it for your next pitching opportunity. Nadia, you have a question?
Yeah, I do. I've pitched 1 billion times now, 100, so many times in my previous job with Wag It and everything. Is there ever going to be a point where I actually enjoy it? Because I'm still always terrified. I know it gets better, it gets easier, and I can, like, you know, if I think about it, and your tips have changed my approach. But like, will I ever actually go, yes, I can't wait to pitch? That's what I want to go to.
I think, yes, you will. And two things I would suggest. One is to try and go back and find your first pitch club pitch and look at the recording. And you will just go, you will do that. You'll go, oh my God, who is that? And then, because you're forgetting how far you've come. It's like watching grass grow or hair grow. You just can't see it. And that's why we have the pitch club recording. So you have a moment in time where you were. Or go back to your Dragon's Den, you know. There are moments where you can see. And then the second thing is, the folk I would give you right now is your pre-performance rituals and routines. So I was reading about this recently. You know, the Man City, who's the new Man City player, the young guy from Denmark or Norway or somewhere, Erling something. He just scores. Yeah, he's an absolute monster. All he does before a game is go and stand in the center of the pitch and watch the stadium. He doesn't need to practice in the final minutes before the game. He just gets his head straight. And then he just scores a hat trick every single game. It's crazy. So you know your stories, but what's happening is you're not physically preparing. Your mind and your body are not in sync. And when you get that sync, you're then like, I love this because it's all there. I don't care what sequence I share it. I just share it in a way that people connect with me. So it's breathing, and it's mindset, and it's focus, and it's a whole series of little routines that you create and stick to them consistently. And then that takes you into a zone of, I love this. So have a go at that. Okay. And you can write your own routine list, but keep it like 2 or 3 things, then add 2 or 3 things, and just not too complicated, but it's consistent. Yeah. Excellent.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you for the question. Peter, real quick.
Yeah, so this has an impact on the way that you structure your PowerPoint if you're a PowerPoint geek, in that you've got to provide your slides, so I've got to have that flexibility where you can actually switch things and not have something too specific, and maybe have slides that have less slides rather than try and cram in much more information. Yeah.
100%, Peter. Like, I could have shown you a lot more slides, but I probably showed you a third of what I had in that deck. And there's also another section which is switched off right now. And so I can sort of tune them in and tune them out. So your slides are not the presentation, you are. Don't put the cart before the horse. You know, you are always the leader, and let the slides go, but use them as a visual support. I love having slides, but I know when to let go of them, and they don't control me, I control them.
And you say you actually are able to bring slides in and take them out during the presentation as such. Is that what you do? Well,
for example, what I showed you, I started in the middle and then I stopped. You may have seen a slide that said jockey, horse, course and odds. I stopped there and I didn't want to...
I was waiting for that one.
Yeah, no, well, that's it. That's where I wanted to stop. And what I will do is before a presentation, I will always revisit my slides and just reflect on my audience and sort of think they probably don't need that one, or that was super specific for that previous audience. They're a different audience. So I will sort of reshuffle them. Think of them as a deck of cards and reshuffle them.
Right. Thank you.
Neil.
Really fascinating. We're talking about slides, and obviously that's kind of my space. Is do you kind of talk about with pictures, like how to use a slide to create a visual impact? Because when we see stuff, the same as when we hear it, we get emotional reaction. We also make visual connections about how this relates to me, what kind of experience will it create, where does it sit in the kind of hierarchy of brands and things like that. How much do you kind of, talk to pitches? Because I've watched, nowhere near as many as you, but I've watched several hundred pitches, and it's difficult to see it done well. So often it's overloaded with facts and data, and it's not engaging. But when you get the passion of the pitch and people are talking about stuff, it's not generally backed up with the wow factor of an image that people will remember. So yeah, it was just a thought, how you see that fits into this whole wonderful thing you're doing with Pitch Club.
I mean, I love my perspective is one idea per slide and as few words as possible, and let the image create the connection. There's an episode of the Book of Boba Fett in the Mandalorian season where the first 12 minutes there's no dialogue, and it is just showing Boba Fett's journey, and it's beautiful show don't tell storytelling. And a lot of people found it boring. They didn't like it because there was no sort of exposition or character development through words. But I was like, wow, this is really brave and bold. And I think that people go to a presentation and they take one slide deck, and that slide deck's got to be my background for my verbal presentation, and it's got to be the something that I can send post-event. And it can't do both, because as a speaker on stage, if I'm in front of a wall of text, then I'm asking you to divide your attention between me and the text. It's garbage. And then if I send a bunch of images to an email, and then I don't know who's going to send it on to someone else, they're going to go and go, I'm just looking at a photo album. So you need 2 decks, and people are like, I don't want to do 2 decks, too much time. I'm like, well, the time is getting on stage. That's what takes a lot of time. The slides, especially with Canva or Fiverr or graphic designers, there's so many ways to get your slides done quick. But this is my new very complex diagram. In a presentation, I don't know if you can see that. Let me just switch. In a presentation, yellow is mindset, orange is strategy, red is message, blue is performance, and pink is slides. From one designer to another, the least important thing is that you don't need the slides, but you need everything else. The slides is the cherry on the top. But if you don't have a strong mindset to this, if you don't bring the right strategy, you don't have a clear message, you don't perform with personality, the slides is just a website. And so that's my sort of approach. But have visuals, but if they don't enhance you, then they're not designed in the right way. That's my sort of perspective. But brilliant question. And Neil, I love the fact that you come to Pitch Club so much. So same to Nadia and Peter. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it.
I do know I need to step up sooner or later, but there we go.
I was thinking that today, actually, but I love having you. It makes me think of like how you coach your son's football team. You need the coaches on the sideline to help the players on the pitch come up and do it. So I do appreciate it. Thank you.
The one thing is, I know we're kind of over time, but it's almost like the one point where when you pulled the slide piece off, I went, okay, I can understand the slide, but a lot of my career success has been putting MVPs in people's hands. And actually the fact that, so a lot of my success, I know full well that half of the things I've ever created would not have come if I hadn't put a smoke and mirrors demo in somebody's hand. And people have gone, I don't care how we do this, but this is what good looks like. And I think that is an element that I would also like to talk to kind of founders about, is that you've got all of the things and talking to it, but if people just go, wow, I want this, then it's much easier to get them to the point once they can see the ambition. And that's, I guess, something I feel passionately about what I do, which is kind of let's draw what good looks like and then map a path to it.
100% the same page. I get upset when people knock slides, but I also accept the fact that if you're in a balloon and you need to throw something out the balloon to keep the balloon alive, the slides are the first thing to go. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have them, you will have communication challenges because people can't see it. So 100%. They got to be used well, basically. And that's our job, isn't it? To champion. Anyway, we're getting inside baseball. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you to Ollie and Lee for helping get this community crossover happening. Couldn't do it without you. Have a wonderful Friday, wonderful weekend, and see you next week at the Startup Stand-Up.
Thanks, Martin. You're going to get a lot of love and big ups today on LinkedIn, plus a local. So we really do appreciate this, and let's do it next time. All right?
Let's keep going. Yeah, 100%. All right. Cheers,
Thanks,
guys.
Martin.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.